the United stand. It is very rare, as a Manchester United fan, that you get such a wide range of potentially fantastic options. And that's what we're talking tonight. 3 big ones, obviously, but potentially 5 as well. And then that big bit of news that we really do not want to be discussing. I'm sure we'll be talking about that as well. Later on the show, Skype Goldbridge is open. Skype Goldbridge with no gap is the name on Skype. That's open. We'll also be taking your super chats. But let's get into it straight away. Antoine Griezmann, Romelu Lukaku and Mbappé from Monaco. Which of those 3 players would you like to sign for Manchester United? Because I'll tell you now, it won't be 2, it won't be 3, it'll be one of those 3. And I think each one of them potentially divides opinion. But add into that equation as well, it's not really just 3, is it? I think it's 5. Zlatan, if he stays, I don't think we'll get Lukaku or Mbappé. And what about Rashford? What about Marcus Rashford? Is he an option within that 5 as well? So there are 5 options, but I think first of all, we've got to look at the 3 transfers. Griezmann, obviously been linked to Manchester United for a long time. Is that deal going a little bit cold now? Is Lacazette going to Atletico Madrid to supplement Griezmann? Is Diego Simeone staying for another year? Going to make Griezmann want to stay? Is Griezmann going to stay because he just loves the sun? He's a sun worshipper. Or is it all nonsense and he will be coming to Manchester United in what has been one of the worst kept secrets for a number of months? Lukaku. Would Jose Mourinho really take back a player that he saw plenty of at Chelsea and sold? But a player who I call a flat track bully, but a flat track bully that we need. Somebody who whacks the goals in against the mid to lower teams in the Premier League. Could be very useful. I'm starting to come round to a lot of what you have said about Lukaku, that he could be really useful for Manchester United. And I still think he's got a couple more gears to go up within his career. And what about Mbappé at Monaco? Very exciting. Very similar to sort of Thierry Henry. 18 just in December. 5'10", looks like being an absolute star of the future. Do you want him at Manchester United, or does he potentially not fit in with what we need? Because if Zlatan goes, you bring Mbappé in, you keep Rashford and Martial, presumably we'd keep them 3. You've got a very young strike force that's very similar. Where's the contrast if you need it? Where's the mix-up? Where's the big player if you want to put the ball into the box? Because none of those are really that sort of player. Certainly not Mbappé and Martial anyway. So where do I stand on it? Well, I'll tell you where I stand on it. It's your show. It's your show to call in. We've got the Snapchat. People have answered it on there. I want you lot to Skype in and give your answers on that as well. But where do I stand on it before everyone comes in? Because I suppose that is important. Well, I'll tell you this. I think that we will only sign 1. I've heard people saying today we can afford all 3. Well, of course we can afford all 3. That's Manchester United. We've got loads and loads of money. But we're not going to sign Lukaku and Mbappé. We're not going to sign Lukaku and Griezmann. We're not going to sign Griezmann and Mbappé. It won't happen. It can't happen. It won't happen. It would cost probably around at least £150 million for any of those 2. So we won't be doing it. I still think there's a good chance that Zlatan might stay. Although I would say I'm leaning towards the fact that if we win the Europa League, he will go. Who would I want out of them 3? It would have to be Griezmann, because I've been quite consistent about that. Who would I want out of Mbappé and Lukaku? Lukaku's going to be Premier League proven, but Mbappe's got the potential to be one of the best strikers in world football. And already, Di Marzio is the big key with this. We did the video last night. Di Marzio saying that Mourinho's bewitched with him and he wants him. And already today, Florentino Perez at Real Madrid has come out and said that they'd be very interested in him. And all I'd say to that is, if Madrid want to go toe-to-toe with us again, they might end up with another bloody nose. To which I've been inundated by Real Madrid fans on Twitter all afternoon saying, we didn't even want Pogba. What a load of rubbish. Listen to your manager Zidane last summer. Listen to Perez last summer. They openly admitted they would like to have got Pogba, but they couldn't get him. Manchester United can beat people, and we did. United fan says he would want Griezmann. Remember, the live comments is open for those people on live comments. If you want a definite shout out, you can contribute to the channel through the super chat option, which is the $sign. But I will be reading some out anyway. But if you want a definite one, then do. George Kyle saying take some calls, Mark, please. I'm happy to take your calls. There's a big issue. I've got a massive thing I want to talk to you about in a few minutes' time. There's been a bit of a development on social media with some accounts starting to say something that we've been saying for about 2 or 3 weeks now. But we'll come to that in a minute. Let's talk about the big thing. I believe there's 5 options. You might want to just pick between Griezmann, Mbappé and Lukaku. I think it's going to be a fantastic debate. So get in with it. Mr. PC thinks that Lukaku will be off to Chelsea. Depends what happens with Costa. And Barca won't sell to Madrid and Madrid won't pay the release. In fact, VK Dean saying that. Somebody said to me today, Griezmann won't come to Manchester United. He's always been very open that he wants to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid. I don't know where people read the crap they read. I mean, he's openly said he would never play for Real Madrid. And Barcelona, he said, well, yeah, everyone wants to play for Barcelona, but it's not something that's going to happen in the immediate future. So there we go. But Zeta says Mbappé should come and not Griezmann. And I can quite honestly tell you that it is Skype Goldbridge on a Monday night. Skype Goldbridge is the feeder name and nobody is Skyping. So I'll keep talking. In fact, I'll go to Snapchat if we need to. But the Skypers, you've got to get Skyping in. Otherwise, there won't be any calls. Simples as that. Gareth Bale, Modicon, is Manchester United or Liverpool Rotter? I don't know what you're on about there. Wayne Cato says he doesn't want Mbappé. And Rachel MUFC91 says she only trusts United stand. Well, that's very nice of you, Rachel. Obviously, I'm quite open about the fact that we got Lindelof wrong, but we did get Mkhitaryan and Pogba and Zlatan right. We didn't get Bay. Nobody got Bay, but we are right quite a lot of the time. And you learn that through knowing who your sources are and knowing who to trust. And Dimarzio, without giving anything away, because I told you all last year, when he talks about Manchester United, it is normally quite right. I don't know what is wrong with people on Skype when we're struggling for calls tonight. So if you give me 1 minute, I just want to reach across and I can still talk to you because that's the wonder of technology. And we'll Snapchat it because that works and we know it works. But get Skyping in. It's Skype Goldbridge and it's all one name. I'm tempted to start talking to you about the thing I want to talk to you about, but we've got Rodney on. Hopefully Rodney can hear me. Saved Snapchat, we will come to you. But Rodney, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. How are you, pal?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I heard you say Skype in, so I thought I'd get in quickly.
Good. Yeah, early worm catches the... early bird catches the worm. So give us your thoughts then. I mean, I think it's a cracking one to... we don't always get the gems on Skype Goldbridge because Monday night can be a bit slow, but I think this is a cracking one. It's really building up. I know last summer we got really excited about Pogba and Zlatan, but they were one-horse races and we wanted those horses. But it's really interesting that Griezmann, it's not pie in the sky. It's been going on for a long time. Lukaku has become to the forefront with a lot of United fans. And then Mbappé, I like Mbappé. I never would have been really talking about him, but when Dimarzio talks, we listen. Out of those three players, I can't see for the life of me getting more than one of those three. Which one would you like and why?
Right, okay, right. Because you've asked the question, which one would I like? I would probably go with Mbappé. I think if we go for Griezmann, we've got to pay through the nose to get him. And I'm kind of tired with the policy of paying lots of money for players that are high profile and take a year or two to embed into United. I think I said last time it would be quite nice for United to go and scout players that we didn't hear of before and bring them in off radar so that they come in and they fit into our system pretty much like we used to do with certain players like Kanchelskis, that came in and hit the ground running with us. But can I say that with the strikers that you've mentioned, like the Griezmann, Mbappé and Lukaku, could you imagine all three coming and Zlatan going and Rooney going and we having to offload some other players to make them to put them in the United team, not just to play up front all the time, because I think United, it would be good to see us have 4 strikers like we did before, 2 that we could rotate in the league and in Europe if that was possible.
Well, Lazy Singh says the Mbappé bandwagon is strong, and I'm glad that you've mentioned him as your first choice because I think it should be strong. I don't like to go off on, we could be talking about anybody, but when I think there is credibility there, and I wouldn't have said this 24 hours ago. I really do. Could we get all 3? You're right that Rodney could go and probably will go. You're right that Zlatan could go. So that's 2 spots. I wonder about Martial. I think if Martial went, then we potentially could get all 3, but I can't see us having Griezmann, Lukaku, Mbappé, Rashford and Martial. I think Martial would have to go. I mean, is that something that you would be happy to sacrifice for those 3? I personally would like Mbappé, Griezmann, Rashford and Martial, and I'd do without Lukaku.
Right, okay, yeah, I agree with you. I could do without Lukaku, but there's the thing as well. When we talk about Griezmann, he's a number 10, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So who in the number 10 spot that we've got now is going to miss out? We've got Mata, we've got Mkhitaryan. When we originally bought Herrera, he was more of an advanced midfielder. Fellaini's meant to be a number 10. He plays in a number 10 for most of his Everton career, never played in the deep line midfielder. So even with Zlatan and Rooney going, possibly at the end of the year, there are still other individuals in the United squad that you could look at and think, well, if we bring people in, someone's got to go. And it isn't just about Rooney and Zlatan, because I watched the cup final game with when we beat Southampton, and Mourinho's face in the last 15 minutes, he did not look happy. He did not look happy, and I could see in his face thinking he wants to change the team. He's already thinking, as Ferguson used to do, at this point in the year, I need to make major changes. It isn't about one or two players that he brought in, because most of the players, as he said, United sold players they should never have sold, and they bought players they should never have bought. I think that's where we're starting from.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I'm not going on a some vague hint here. I really do think Mbappé is interesting. And also, I think it's interesting on the point. A lot of people saying today, Mourinho, shut up with the nonsense. Mourinho, when has Mourinho ever gone and signed a young player for a lot of money? Well, probably never off the top of my head, but he's at Manchester United now. He probably listens to a lot of United fans this season saying, you're not using the youth, you're not using the youth. He can sort of hit solve two problems there. And
do you know the thing about the Mourinho never signed players? When he went to Real Madrid as a manager, how old was Sami Khedira and Ozil when he bought them from Germany? What, early 20s?
Yeah, Ozil must have been, definitely. Yeah.
Right. So they're young. They're considered as young players. Exactly. Yeah, they were considered as exactly. So when they say that he's never bought young players, I don't listen to the media. I don't know how old is the guy that's tearing things up at Chelsea and he put down tools. What's the Belgian player? Can't think of his name. It escapes me. Hazard. Yeah. How old is he? What, 25?
Yeah. So he signed him about 3 years ago, didn't he?
Yeah. Exactly. So he's a young player. So this thing about So when they say that Mourinho never buys young, that's a lie. A blatant lie. He buys young players. He doesn't buy players when they're 15 or 17, like Arsenal did when they bought Walcott, and he's been with them for 10 years and hasn't done anything. A young player to Mourinho is someone who's 21, because at 21, you're still young.
Yeah.
You haven't learned anything. You know, you're not a grown man at 21. You don't know everything at 21, and you're still learning the game. So if you come into any team at 20, 21 or 22, you're still a young player. Still a young player.
Rachel MUFC says Mbappé is a beast and still growing. He's 18 in December. I would say is an observation on him is that I think he will end up being probably double the size physically. You can see you can see it in his arms. He's very skinny at the moment. You can see in the arms they're going to at least double the size, and probably double the size to be fair. But I don't think he will be this slim striker in his prime. I think he'll be, I think he'll still be as quick and still skillful. But I can imagine him sort of being probably not as big as a Collymore or someone like that, but certainly a big beast of a unit.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen of him, he's a very direct player. Technically good. They're saying that his goals assist ratio is ridiculous for someone of his age, considering the number of games that he's played. So if we're linked with Mbappé, Griezmann and Lukaku, for me, I would go with Mbappé. Griezmann's going to cost us a lot of money. He's going to cost us a lot of money. And if we bring him in, you're looking at getting rid of two players to accommodate him in that position that he needs to play in. Yeah. Because he's not going to be someone that tracks backs and tackles. He's going to be someone that operates in the latter third of a game, and we need to get the ball to him as quickly as possible. So to do that, you're literally going to have to say to two people, we can't accommodate you. And then we know, as much as I'm with you, never been a Fellaini fan, but for whatever reason, Mourinho likes to put him up as a number 10, so someone has to go. And then Mata is always being substituted, so who is it going to be?
It's an interesting one.
It would be very interesting.
In fact, we've got a show tomorrow. Who's going to go? Just a little hint. But thanks for calling, Rodney. Very good call as per usual, and I'll speak to you again soon.
All right, cheers.
It's interesting. A few people in the live commenting there saying, why is Mbappe going to be cheaper than Griezmann? He's going to cost about £100 million. That is smoke screen red top nonsense. That is. He's got 2 years left on his contract. We are not going to pay £100 million for him. Monaco would probably let him go for 60, whereas Griezmann will cost 90. I think you get Lukaku for about 60 as well. A few people in the live comments saying that Mourinho didn't buy Hazard. I don't really care. You know what? There will be mistakes made by callers and me. The point is, Mourinho has signed young players. That's what we were talking about. I don't give a shit if he didn't sign Hazard. But the point was, he does sign young players, and the press again are trying to make out that he only signs old players, and it's not true. So the point is made, and it was a great call, says Rachel. Rooney's got to leave, says Tyrone. Because we are talking at the moment about Lukaku, Griezmann, or Mbappé. I just want to grab some of these, and people are Snapchatting. The Snapchat link is in the video description if you are on Snapchat. It's worked quite well. So let's have a look at what people have got to say. The Welsh Rambo 3.
Big United fan. I love Griezmann at United and Lukaku. I think the other lot from Morocco, we got Rashford for that position. What do you think?
He wants Griezmann. Neve, Olaf. Mark, my school are doing a FaceTime Q&A with Sir Alex Ferguson, and they can't wait. Yeah, great. Aidan, Joe Gamer.
Can't really see Mbappé working with our current front three system of a striker up front to hold up the ball for two pacey wingers.
You can't see him working. Mbappé.
Lots of teams in English football, from the Premier League down to those teams in League Two. Lots of teams in English football. I pick Griezmann because in that way he has a strike force with his best mate Pogba, and also because we have a better number 10 than Rooney. So it's Rooney.
Neve says she'd pick Griezmann because he's better than Rooney. Pavlovsky 8.
It just has to be Griezmann. It cannot be anyone else. It's finally someone to replace the number 7 shirt for the long term. Can't argue with that.
It's not a bad point. We forget about the number 7 shirts, but a very, very good point from Pavlovsky 8, I think that was. And Wobo Bro.
I take Griezmann. Lukaku and Mbappe have more of a chance of being flops on him. And obviously, Griezmann's world class.
I tell you what, everybody is going for Griezmann on Snapchat. We'll come back to that. But I want to take your Skype calls as well. And Wayne Cato says, Griezmann, I feel you're going to get him. If you're joining the party a little bit late, we're talking who would you want out of Griezmann, Lukaku and Mbappe. I believe it will only be one. I really do believe it will only be one. And Slice of Life 666 has made a contribution through the Super Chat. Couple of quid there. Thanks very much for that. He says, I like Mbappe, but my heart, Rashford's the future. It's a very good point. I think Rashford and Zlatan should be part of this discussion because what if Zlatan... Do you want Zlatan to stay? Do you want Rashford to be the number 9 next year? Brooke, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. How are you? Good evening.
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. So I've been following your show, and I would really buy Lukaku.
Lukaku, good. An interesting different view. Loads of people saying Griezmann. Our previous call, Rodney saying Mbappe. It's almost as if it's scripted, which it isn't. Why would you go for Lukaku?
Because if we buy first, I just don't know, because Griezmann, he is a really, really good player. He's a great world-class player, but I just don't know how we're going to play him. And the thing with Mbappe is it might really be another Memphis Depay situation, because it's just been one season. We haven't seen a lot from him yet. And it's in France, and the football there is not really good.
It's a good point, that. Nobody's really mentioned that. He could be a sort of a Memphis. I think the French league is better than the Dutch league, and I think the fact that Mbappe has done it in the Champions League goes in his favour. And personally, I do think he'll be a good player. Having said that, when we signed Memphis, I thought he was going to be great. So it's a very, very good point. With Griezmann, where Griezmann will play, I mean, you're right, Griezmann's not really... the reason we've sort of said Griezmann, Lukaku or Mbappe is because they will be the big signing of the summer. We won't be able to get all three, but Griezmann's not really a positional threat for Lukaku or Mbappe, because Griezmann will take the Rooney role. He will be the number 10. He can play either side, but Mbappe is more of a left-sided midfielder striker, and Lukaku's a striker. So you could conceivably get all three. But Lukaku, I mean, I presume you're a fan of his just because... I mean, I'll throw this at you, to be honest. I have concerns about Lukaku. I think he's a bit of a big game bottler. Doesn't turn up in the big games. What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, but if he's going to play in Manchester United, then he has to turn up in the big games. It's part of wearing that shirt, wearing the red, being a part of the Red Army. He has to step up in the big games, and I think he was gonna understand that when he steps foot in the Old Trafford, in the Theatre of Dreams, when he's wearing the shirt, great people like Van Nistelrooy, Sir Bobby Charlton wore, then I think he's gonna understand what it really means, and he's gonna give his all. And now he's really playing in Everton, and that he doesn't get this motivation, if you know what I mean. But with Griezmann, or for example, with Mbappé, for example, if he's a left-sided player, then what are we going to do with Martial and Rashford? And we really need a big, strong handling, a really good presence in that forward, in the number 9 role. And Griezmann is a real threat for Mkhitaryan. If I know, I'm really sure that Lingard is staying, Fellaini is staying for whatever reason, I don't know. I just really don't get the Griezmann signing. Okay. I will really be happy if we sign Griezmann, but I don't really get the point of the signing. It's going to be another Di Maria situation, maybe. He might not leave to Paris Saint-Germain or something, but I really don't get Griezmann. And he's strong, but his size is he's just too weak for the Premier League, in my views. What do you think about that?
I think Griezmann will work out, but I liked the comment that you made about Lukaku, that him coming to Manchester United could be a step up for him, surrounded by better players for sure. He's doing very well with even Everton are a decent side, but they're not a top side, so it's interesting. Thanks for calling, Brooke. Where are you calling from?
I'm the guy that said Roy Keane is not a legend. I'm calling from Germany, but I'm originally out of Ethiopia.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks for calling, pal, and please do call again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Probably made his call not so popular by saying Roy Keane's not a legend, but everybody's got a right to opinion. Please do subscribe to the channel. I've just noticed on the subscriber count there that we're only 8 away from 73,900. Fast closing in on the attendance for Old Trafford. We may get that done by the middle of April, which would be a fantastic achievement for us all collectively. Me, everyone involved in front of camera, and most important of all you lot who are part of the United Stand community. So that's interesting, isn't it? We'll keep an eye on that. Martial was never a winger, he was a striker, out-and-out striker, says Mr. PC. Not sure what he's on about. Chad Sproul says, Mark, too weak isn't a thing. Look at players like Hazard, whose low sense of gravity makes him a beast. And can you ban Najoma? I'm not on there, sorry. And Tyrone Williams isn't convinced that Mourinho wants Lukaku. Me neither. We've not really been linked with Lukaku. It's just fans, which I think your opinion's good, and I think your scouting's good, and I think Lukaku could be a good signing for United, but I've not heard anything that we're actually in for him at all. Obviously, his agent is Mini Raiola, but so is Latan's. I don't think there is any link that Manchester United are in for him, and I think the biggest thing ever is the fact that Mourinho saw a lot of Lukaku and still sold him. So I just can't see it. I can't see it, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean it's not a good shout by you lot either. Let me take another call. Dwayne, can you hear me, Dwayne? Dwayne? Okay, something wrong with Dwayne there. Let's have a look. We'll see if we can get somebody else. Let's try this one. Heidi White. Can you hear me, Heidi?
Hi, yeah.
Hi, all right?
How you doing?
I'm not bad. Who's that?
It's Heidi.
All right, okay. Griezmann, Lukaku, Mbappé. Where you stand?
Okay, basically, yeah. I think Griezmann, ideally, would be the best signing, obviously. He's a world-class player. But what I really think is important is that we don't lose sight of how important Rashford is going to be for the future of Man United. I mean, he's a youth academy product, and people always go on about how important the youth is for Manchester United. But everyone's going on about how we want to sign Lukaku and Mbappé and all that, which is all well and good. But we've got a world-class, potentially world-class player in Rashford already there, and I think a lot more focus needs to be put on developing his abilities.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think yet again it's another good point. I'm getting a bit of echo from your audio, unfortunately, but the Rashford thing, I'm glad somebody else has brought that up, because I've been banging this drum for so long that I really do believe that, Mbappé looks like a great player, but I think if Rashford was playing week in, week out as well, he'd be tearing it up. Came on for half an hour for England last night, was the best player on the pitch. And all the press are bothered about is Defoe and Vardy and others. And Rashford was the star player. I think this lad can be as good as anything we've ever seen.
I would say so. I'm happy for Defoe, obviously coming back at this late stage in his career, but Rashford definitely should be the focal point for the future of England and possibly Man United as well. He's just got so much ability. He's got it all, to be fair, and I just don't want him to sort of like slip by the wayside with all the hype surrounding new signings and all that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Alex last night about what sort of summer that we think we're going to have. Do you think it's going to be a busy summer for Manchester United, or do you think it will just be 2 or 3 signings and maybe 1 or 2 going out the door?
I think it could be quieter than people think. I think there's a lot of sort of fan chat, you know, about signing. Man United, it always seems like every single player around Man United are always linked to in some way. But I think we might make... I would love us to sign Griezmann, to be honest with you. If we can do that, then I'll be happy. Obviously, we need to get some sort of dominant centre-back. Someone like a Kante, like you always talk about, we need... But yeah, I don't think we should go overboard with too many crazy, wild signings, you know?
You've mentioned Rashford there. Nobody's really come in and mentioned Zlatan. Because, I mean, yes, Mbappé, yes, Lukaku, yes, Griezmann. We can pick between them 3. I think you've covered the Rashford thing really well. I'm so glad you did that. I wanted somebody to do that. But the 5th option is Zlatan. Do you want Zlatan to stay for another year? Tyrone Williams saying there, really thankful of what he's done. He's too slow, though. We won't win a title with him up front. What do you think about Zlatan? Do you want him to stay? Do you think he will stay?
I love Zlatan. I think he's one of the all-time greats, and what he's done for us this season has been unbelievable. But realistically, for our long-term planning, I think we need to look outside of Zlatan. That's just what I think. Even though I love him as a player and as a man, he's a legend. But come on, he's he's in great shape for his age. But how long is he going to last? And we need to look to the future if we're going to be the greatest again.
Good, I agree with that. I'm not totally made my mind up actually about Zlatan because I really wanted him to come. I think he's been really, really good. But I do notice when he doesn't play, and we've got Rashford like at Middlesbrough, we've suddenly got pace in the final third, and that causes people problems. We've seen teams coming to Old Trafford this year, as good as Zlatan's been, playing a high line at Old Trafford. I've never seen that. And that is the problem with Zlatan. It's the only problem. If he had a bit of pace, we'd be sorted. But it is a problem. And I think we play more like everyone wants to see United play when we do have that pace. It's sad, but I mean, a 1-year wonder at his age is great. If he was 28, I think we'd have a bigger problem because he's never had pace and we'd still have the same problem. But as a 1-year thing, I think it's worked really well.
I agree.
Fantastic call. Is it your first time on?
It is, Mark. I've tried to call through a few times. I've been listening for a while. Excellent show, mate. Honestly, fucking quality. Brilliant.
No worries. Well, really, really good debut. Where are you calling from?
From Swindon.
Swindon. Okay, well, please do call in again. We'll definitely get you on again. Really enjoyed it.
I will do, Mark. Nice one.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Yes, pal.
Always try. You will get on. Eventually, we are Skype Goldbridging every Monday again now. In fact, we will be doing it next week, won't we? Because we're playing Everton a week tomorrow night. Lukaku at Old Trafford. Always bottles it. Will he be out to prove a point? Be very interesting. Can't wait now. We've had this couple of weeks. I just want to applaud you all, actually, because we've kept going through the international break. And the international breaks are hard. I love the summer because it's all about transfers. It's not a hardship in the summer. But the international breaks are always a hardship. And we've done some brilliant content last week. Got a really good show for you tomorrow night. And then we're into the homewood straight for the West Brom game. And then it's thick and fast. Next Tuesday, Everton. The Sunday after Sunderland. The Thursday after that, Anderlecht. The Sunday after that, Chelsea, Easter Sunday. Thursday after that, Anderlecht. And then, I can't remember who's next after that. But it's pretty much a game every 3.5 days. So April's going to be fantastic with the United stand. We're going to be knackered by the end of May. Hopefully we'll have Champions League football. And then we can all relax with a busy June and July. Or June with transfer news. We'll be live every night for that. And then July, American tour, back on it. It never ends. It's a fantastic thing. Get part of the United community. We've had a contribution here from Chris Goodrew. Thanks, Chris. He's contributed $10 through the super chat, and he says, "Are we, Jose, looking to our own loan players and academy enough, or do we just not have the champion level talent there and need to look outside of Manchester United for players until this is fixed?" Well, I've said before, I think Pereira will be like a new signing. I think that Fosu Mensah is good enough. I think that obviously Rashford's good enough. I think Twansebe's good enough. So I think actually when you look at it, if you've got 3 players that you think, or potentially 4 players that are from the youth setup, Pereira is from the youth setup. I know we signed him, but he is from the youth setup. Same with Fosu Mensah, and obviously Twansebe and Rashford have come through from the very young age. 4 players that you think can be part of the first team squad is absolutely fantastic. When you think over the last 20 years, Fletcher, O'Shea, Kieran Richardson, people like that, I mean, that's over 20 years. So to say that we've got even 2 would be fantastic. I think we've got 3 or 4. So I think that it is there. He probably just needs to use it a little bit more. But I think on balance, I am just going to do a Snapchat, and then we're going to move on to this next topic. On balance, I think it would be fair to say that, and brilliant calls. I'm so glad somebody said Rashford should be the priority. I'm so glad that somebody said Lukaku. I'm so glad that Rodney at the start said Mbappé. And I'm so glad that on Snapchat most people have said Griezmann, because we've pretty much covered all the options. And you never know that's going to work on a live show. And we don't script. We never would script. So it worked really well. Toby Cutler 198.
On paper, Mbappé, Martial and Rashford all look good, but I think Griezmann would take Man United to the next level.
So Toby's going for Griezmann. Snapchat is absolutely loving Griezmann, effectively. Felix?
Yeah, it's Felix from Switzerland. I wanted to know if I have any chance to get tickets for a Chelsea game. I applied in a ballot, but I hadn't had success.
I think Felix is trying to Snapchat the Manchester United official account, asking for tickets for Chelsea. Wrong number, pal. Can't help you with that, I'm afraid. Wish we could. Robert Duran, having watched Rashford now a lot, he reminds me very much of Welbeck and will never be a regular goal scorer. 3 league goals this year. Agree or disagree? Disagree. Rory Sheehan.
Just want to say, Mark, that personally I'd go with Lukaku this season because he's been more consistent. That's who.
He'd go with Lukaku because he's more consistent than Griezmann or Mbappe. And Temi Jemmy.
I think we definitely need to get Griezmann, but we also got to think about getting a center back. So getting Griezmann and Mbappé and a center back will cost a lot of money.
Temi Jemmy is getting a bit greedy. He wants a centre back. I mean, we're not talking about that tonight, to be honest, but we do need a centre back. You are right. But another Griezmann. And Ryan.
Blake's disgusting, green-toothed, scrawny little rat.
Who? I don't know what he's on about. See what he says. There's always one. I didn't hear what he said. You might have heard it. John of 46.
We want Griezmann. We need Griezmann. Proven.
He wants Griezmann. Snapchat loves Griezmann. Nevo laugh.
Pedro, Sergio Busquets, Gerard Piqué, Iniesta, Luis Suarez, and Neymar.
Always a bit funny. Okay, let's go back to the Skype calls. And thanks everyone who's been watching. I love the thing about Snapchat. We did have a Snapchat, didn't we? I love the thing about Snapchat because it gives you an opportunity to get on. Obviously, if you get on Skype, then you're going to get a few minutes. But on Snapchat, you can get 3 of you on, a few of you on for 15 seconds, and you get an opportunity. So if you're not signed up to Snapchat, do that. We're United Stand MUFC. I'm going to take another call in a minute. What I want to say is, though, please do drop a like on this video if you are watching. Loads of people have been on tonight. We've had the Skype callers as well. And it's important to us as a channel that you like this one. We do daily content, so we're not begging for likes because we know we get likes anyway. But on this, it's a personal shout out. Please do like the video because the people who've been on will watch it back, and if they see the positivity, it's a tap on the shoulder for them, isn't it? Because it's not always easy to do it. We've had fantastic callers tonight, and if you support United Stand, support the callers who come on, because I think they've been brilliant as per usual. And also, we're nearly at 1,000 live people watching, so please share it on Twitter. There's a share button underneath the video. Please share it on Twitter, on Facebook, and let's try and get up to 1,000 people. The next thing I want to talk about before I take a Skype call, because I've been promising you this, it's not really something I'm happy about, but I think it's inevitable. As I was saying at the start of the show, there were people out there who are now starting to jump onto what is not a bandwagon, and the United Stand certainly cannot be somebody who claims this because it sort of is common sense, but it's something we've been saying for 2 or 3 weeks. Now, everybody knows I love David de Gea. I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world. I think he's better than Neuer, even though it's his birthday. I'm still not going to say he's better than de Gea. But I've been saying for a number of weeks now that I've got a horrible feeling that de Gea will go, and I think May will be the big month. One positive I would say is that I did predict that if it was going to start from now until May, it'll be trickle, 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 drip, drip, drip from Real Madrid. It's not. It has a little bit, but it's not been as blatant. I thought we'd see some real big headlines. Madrid want De Gea. Manchester United sort of be denying it. De Gea, I'm not saying anything. That's not happened. But there has been the Herrera comment saying it doesn't know whether he will stay. There's also been the Thibaut Cortez saying he's not going to leave Chelsea. So De Gea's the keeper they're going to go for. I think he's going to go. I do not want him to go. I do not want him to go. I think he's been a fantastic player for us. And I nearly said fantastic servant. And I think that's why I think he's going to go. Because he has been a servant for us. I know the fax machine is the only thing that stopped him going a couple of years ago. But he's been very professional. For nearly 3 years, he was basically our player of the year and stopped us finishing in the bottom half of the table. He was that good. I've just got a funny feeling he's going to go. I think it will fall into the path of he'll go and see Mourinho and say, look, I love what you've done at Manchester United. I love this club. I love being here. But I want to go back to Spain. I want to be with my girlfriend. I want to start a family. And I'm a bit homesick and that's where I want to be. I think United will stand by that and let him go. And most importantly, he does have this mythical buyout clause. A lot of people are saying he hasn't got a buyout clause. Come on, wake up and smell the coffee. He was going to Real Madrid. Something went wrong with the fax machine. And then I think it was within a couple of weeks of that, he signs a new contract at Manchester United. You're telling me that a player that was dreaming of going to Real Madrid and it fell through at the 11th hour, literally, within 2 weeks, his head's in the right position to commit to a new contract at Manchester United with no get-out clause. That contract has a get-out clause. That's why he signed it. It's €50 million. It's 30 odd million pounds. He will go this summer, I believe. I'm hoping he won't, but a lot of people are now starting to say Manchester United are powerless to let it happen. I mean, this is just nonsense. This is just people putting two and two together. Nobody knows. I don't think even De Gea knows at the moment, because I think if we get Champions League football, he might decide to stay for another year. But my heart says I want him to stay, but my head says I think he will go. So get Skyping in and give us your thoughts on that. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Paul Jones is saying we'll find a replacement for De Gea. Mark, watch your Snapchat, says Cameron Smith. It's United Stand, MUFC, all one word. Slice of Life 666, love De Gea, but if he wants to go, let the gad go. Bring in a goalkeeper who wants to be at this great club. And would you still think that De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world if Liverpool signed him, says Callie Johansson? Well, no, you know me. I used to think Klopp was a decent manager. I now think he's a clown because he's gone to Liverpool, and I can't be positive about anybody. I mean, did anybody see today that some journalist was on about Lallana being mentioned in the same breath of Paul Scholes is a real compliment to how well Lallana's doing now? I mean, Jesus Christ. What are people on about? Paul Scholes and Lallana in the same sentence. They shouldn't be in the same book. They shouldn't be in the same bookshelf, let alone the same sentence. Bloody ridiculous. Keelan Johnson, Mental George, you're not going to change his mind. CFC07, I don't know what he's on about. Jose has proved he loves big spending with Pogba, says Mark Curran. And Donnarumma might be worth a punt, says 2222 Damien. And what is the Skype address? It's Skype Goldbridge again. There's no gap. It's all one word. 50 million is peanuts, says Joseph, for De Gea. But remember, De Gea was going for about 25 million when the fax machine broke. So it could have been far, far less. So Skype name is Skype Goldbridge without a break. Let me take a call and let's ask somebody about De Gea, to be fair. Courtney, can you hear me, Courtney?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. Can you hear me?
Perfectly. Tell me about De Gea then. I've just said there I think he's going to go. Bit mixed opinions on the live comments. What's your heart and head telling you about De Gea, and how do you feel about it?
Well, at the end of the day, it's very similar to the whole Cristiano Ronaldo situation we had years ago. Because in our hearts, we wanted him to stay because he was performing very well for us, even though in Rome, that one year he didn't do quite so well. We got beat 2-0. But it's just got to come down to the facts that David de Gea has always had Spain in his heart. And his career at Man United, it wasn't quite going the way he wanted it to at first, but now he's turned into this mega beast who can perform on the same levels as Manuel Neuer, maybe even better than Thibaut Courtois. But at the end of the day, I mean, us as Man United fans, we're always desperate to hold on to these players because we love them so much. It's the same thing with Bastian Schweinsteiger, where even though we know eventually they're going to go, we have to let them go. Now, at the end of the day, we know that Real Madrid, they want him more than anything. I mean, it was nearly agreed, but due to a stupid fax machine error, it did not happen. So we have in our favour a huge bargaining chip. So if Real Madrid are really, really interested to bring David de Gea to Real Madrid, we can say, okay, well, maybe we could arrange maybe some kind of player swap, maybe bring in the likes of Tony Kroos or maybe someone else of that quality. I mean, Gareth Bale, that's never going to happen, even if we did offer David de Gea, and we'd probably have to go through the same thing with another goalkeeper who was young and very talented. Maybe that Donnarumma guy. He could end up being the next David de Gea. I mean, he looks very promising. He's a lot cheaper than some of the other goalkeepers would be, like Bernd Leno, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. So it's very hard for us to admit that David Gea is going to leave, but these things have to happen. We have to let these players go. I mean, we can't just force him to stay here. Otherwise, he'll just force his way out of the club anyway. We're not like that. We're not like any other club. We're Manchester United. We are willing to say, let our players move on and let them go. I mean, even Jose Mourinho said, look, if he wants to go, he can go. So
you're right. I mean, I think Paul Michael Bales just quickly says, read somewhere that they will give De Gea to Madrid if they leave Mbappé alone, which is interesting because we were talking about that. But you're right about the minute we signed De Gea under Sir Alex Ferguson, I had concerns about it because I thought we're buying a young Spanish lad who, if he fulfills his potential, Madrid or Barcelona will come knocking, and he's Spanish. So there's always that pull back, and I think we've done really well to keep him as long as we have, even if it was down to a floor with a fax machine. But if De Gea goes, as I think, head in for me saying he will, heart saying please stay. But if he does go, I would say I wouldn't be happy about it, but I certainly wouldn't be calling him a snake or a Di Maria or anything like that. I think he's done more than enough for the club in the time that he's been here. You mentioned a few names as replacements there. Would you go down the path of a Donnarumma, which is basically an Italian De Gea, very young, could be one of the best keepers in the world, which is what we did with De Gea? Or would you be looking at somebody like some of the other names you mentioned there, a Leno, a ter Stegen, a Lloris, or an Oblak, someone like that?
I can understand Lloris because he's already in the Premier League and he's proven he can be quite good. But then again, I mean, look at what's been happening to Tottenham over the last few years. I mean, they've had a decent defence and yet they've still leaked in goals. So that might not be what we're looking for. And he's getting a bit on as well. I mean, maybe he's got 7-8 years left in him, Hugo Lloris. I think that what we have to focus on as Manchester United is we have to look at the longevity of our transfers. We can't just buy a player for, they're 26, 27, and they're going to cost us a lot of money. Because let's face it, if we were to get Hugo Lloris, he would cost us a lot more than £35 million because of their Tottenham Hotspur CEO being the way he is. He wants as much money as he can.
It costs us more than we sell De Gea for, exactly, yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So I will definitely go for a younger option, or Donnarumma. I mean, heck, even 2 years ago, it would have been Simone Scaffet at one point, but he hasn't proven himself as well. But I have a feeling this Donnarumma guy could really be the one that we're looking for. I mean, he's around the same price we bought David De Gea for, and by that time we'll probably have a stronger defence in front of him, so we won't be leaking as much goals. He can build his confidence. And I just want to quickly point out about the whole Mbappé conversation that we're having here, because I understand that fans are like, oh yeah, he looks really great, he's prolific, he's fast. What fans have to remember is that we got Anthony Martial, and I think there's a little theory to how we got him. Whereas I don't think we just got Radamel Falcao coincidentally the year before because of shirt sales and the fact it was a loan deal. I think Louis van Gaal knew that. He saw something in Anthony Martial, but he knew that with Radamel Falcao being at Monaco at the time, he couldn't get the exposure up front that he wanted to. So he thought, okay, the board will agree with me. Ed Woodward will. We're not going to buy Falcao. We're going to loan him in for a season. So that way Anthony Martial can get the exposure he needs to. So my scouts can definitely confirm if he's the player I've been looking for. So after that had happened, Falcao was not as great as we wanted. He was good for the fan service. But then the scouts came back saying, oh, yeah, he's fantastic. He'll be brilliant for you. He's definitely worth the money. So I wouldn't quite rush into the Mbappé situation so quickly. And also, we have to remember that, we have Griezmann and Lukaku being linked to us, who are both two left-footed strikers, which probably means James Wilson's on his way out, even though I hate to admit it. But him and Marcus Rashford could have been a good duo in the second team. As soon as our loan players come back, our second team's going to be immense. Andreas Pereira, Tuanzebe, that's going to be all good in the making. So What we need is, if we get in the Champions League next season, we need strikers who can perform prolifically on both fronts. Lukaku for the Premier League and Griezmann for the Champions League. Because let's admit it, those players have ripped it up in those respective leagues. Now, whether we got to pay 85 million for Griezmann to come in to dominate the Champions League, and whether we got to offer Rooney up to get in Lukaku plus 45 million, that is the way the squad has to go forward, because we need goals, we need those big signings, and Griezmann's not exactly old. I mean, he's 26, and Lukaku's still 24. I mean, he still yet has to get into his prime, and he wants to prove it on the big stage. Well, Champions League, Man United, the door's open. Jose Mourinho can give you a second chance if you feel you're up for it. So I think the Mbappé situation is it's a bit too soon to be judging him. He could be a one-season wonder, a bit like a Jamie Vardy, but yeah, I really reckon this summer is going to be very, very interesting, Mark. So I definitely look forward to it. I certainly hope you are.
I am. I definitely am. Is it your first time on the show, Courtney?
No, I came on here before. I think it was about 3-4 weeks ago.
My memory's like a sieve. Thanks for calling. Really good call again, and please do call again.
Okay, we'll do. Thank you, Mark. Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Cheers, pal. We've been blessed with really good calls tonight. Really, really good calls. I agree about Mbappé, and it's almost mirroring what I would have said. But the only thing I could think of throughout that whole discussion he was having was that this is not coming from, he's playing really well, United will be linked to him. It's come from Di Marzio, and he's very rarely wrong. So that's why it's a credible thing at the moment. I'd agree with those people who are saying, Mbappe, we're not going to get him, whatever. But there we go. Tyrone Williams says, I don't want Lloris, and why would he leave Spurs anyway? Joel Atorta says, Donnarumma's not for sale. I think Donnarumma has the same agent as Mkhitaryan, as Zlatan, as Lukaku, Mini Raiola. So he does deals for Manchester United. That could happen. And Jose just come out and said that he can't sign Spurs players. What you want about Ryan Lawrence? I haven't heard that Jose Mourinho said that anyway. And Darth Vader is saying that Griezmann's the real deal. Well, I think when in relation to the Griezmann, Mbappe, Lukaku deal, Griezmann kicks the ass out of everybody. Most people want Griezmann out of those three options, especially on the Snapchat. Great to get all different people though. Like I said, Rodney at the start with Mbappe, and we had the lad who's on about Lukaku, and we've had people talking about Rashford as well, Heidi. Good call from Courtney at the end there, and all the Snapchatters. So very, very good calls as per usual. Let's go back to Snapchat and just take a few of those as well, because there might be a few different opinions, especially in relation to De Gea, which would be nice to get. We've got Paul Farouk Gori.
It's Griezmann for me for sure, because Lukaku will have Zlatan for one more year, of course, and Mbappe, we got to show faith in Rashford and Marshall.
Okay, and FaZe the Wizard.
Griezmann, as it won't hinder Rashford's progress.
Griezmann, because he won't hinder Rashford's progress. Declan
Hey
Curran.
Mark, I definitely think Griezmann. I think he's the man. He will bring us Champions League victory and probably Premier League victory. He's best friends with Pogba. He'll perfect in squad.
There we go. Good. Valentino 290.
Mark, I believe we need a better defence, especially centre-back. I think Smalling Jones has to go, and we need to invest in a world-class centre-back.
Interesting. Okay. Tomorrow night at 8:30. Well, actually, I'll throw it to you. I don't know whether people want me to do it at 8:30 or a little bit later. Spain are playing France. Is anybody really interested in that? Should we move the 8:30 show for Spain v France? I personally think we probably shouldn't. I think we should just crack on as per usual, but let me know in the live comments before we finish up. But tomorrow night's going to be a very interesting show. For those who are watching now, you're going to get a bit of a spoiler, but you can have a think. Get commenting below if you're not watching live. I want your thoughts on this. Tomorrow night we're going to twist it a little bit, because we're going to be back into the games and everything like that pretty much from Wednesday with the preview for the West Brom game. So tomorrow night's the last we've been talking a lot about transfers over the last week and a half because we've had the opportunity to do it. We're now going to talk about tomorrow night. Who do we think is going to go? We've done last week 2 shows on outside the box players that will be interesting to look back at in the summer if we sign them. But tomorrow we're going to be predicting players that we think are going to go. Probably going to be more than 5. So I want your input on that, and it'll be interesting to see who goes in the summer. Interesting, very interesting. Thanks everybody for watching. Really, really good show. Please do drop a like and support everybody who's been on the show. I think we've been blessed with the calls tonight. Really, really good. After the game, do the show, says Darth Vader. I'll make my mind up tomorrow. I'm going out after work for a couple of drinks, so I might just feel like getting it out of the way because it normally makes me feel a little bit tired. You could watch Spain v France in the background. Very good. Move the show, says George Kyle. And Blind will leave, says Indie Tagger. Well, we'll pick it up tomorrow. I've got 4 or 5 names, I think. I will be reading your comments below this video. If you're live, please come back and do it. And we will sort of combine my thoughts with your thoughts, and we'll come out with a show tomorrow night. I might even change the studio for tomorrow just for a little bit. Thoughts on Neymar rumours, Mark, says Avatar. Not really covered it. I've done a Neymar video before, probably about 10 videos ago if you want to go and watch that. But good question. My thoughts on Neymar, just to wrap it up of this, highly unlikely in my mind, but it's common knowledge that Woodward's been after him for 2 or 3 years now. So anything's possible at Manchester United, and I'll keep saying that till the cows come home because some people don't believe it, but anything is possible at Manchester United. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll speak to you all tomorrow night at 8:30. Please drop a like on the video, get commenting if you're not live, and give us your thoughts. We've covered quite a lot. De Gea, who would you want out of Mbappé, Griezmann or Lukaku, and why? I want to see those comments below as well. And we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Really enjoyed it. Nice to get back on the Skype Goldbridge show. You make this show, and I think the comments and the Snapchats were great. So I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.